Hey, and welcome back. We are in part two of the build of the Rocketman quarter scale Miss Riley rocket kit. So I taped off the bottom of the tube and I painted the exposed part, and you can tell even in this video where the paint line is and how this side is much shinier and nicer looking. So it's going to look real nice on this. I did tape off the bottom. It was pretty accurate. I'm kind of impressed with myself. So it slides right in. So when the paint line hits the fin can, the bottom of the tube lines up quite nice. So this is going to look great. So we're going to go ahead and start assembling. I'm going to be using 5-minute epoxy because we're going wood to plastic. And the best thing for wood to plastic is epoxy. So I'm going to mix up some 5-minute epoxy and then we'll start gluing this together. All right, so we have a little bit of epoxy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some glue inside the fin can and slide the tube into it. I'm using a dowel for this because I want something round that I can smooth along the walls of the fin can, because what we don't want is we don't want glue getting into the body tube, because that could potentially interfere with loading up our engine and everything if we have glue in the tube. So I'm just spreading it around really good. One thing nice about this being 3D printed is you have some natural ridges in there that will help the glue grab. And try not to get any in the launch lug area as well. Okay. And now let's take our body tube and we're going to slide it in. I'm going to give a little twist as we slide it. Let that glue smear around. Take it right to our paint line so we're nice and flush on the bottom. Got a little bit of glue coming off the bottom, so we're just going to wipe that off with our fingers. I didn't get any glue in the tube, so that's nice. All right, so we're going to let that dry. And while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and set up our shock cord to our engine block and get that installed. So they did give us this nice Kevlar, and find the end that's the least frayed. So we're going to thread this through the hole. There we go. All right. Pull that through. I'm going to do a slip knot, if I can remember how to tie one. Make a couple passes here. Try not to use too much of my shock cord in the tail here. There we go. A nice tug. All right, that is not going to go anywhere. And for this tail, I'm just going to take a little bit of tape and just tape up around that tail, just so it doesn't get in the way. All right, now to install this engine block, we're going to install the engine block from the front of the rocket until we reach where we want our engine to go. So to do that, we need to first kind of determine how far we want the engine to stick out. I kind of like it about right here. I'm going to go ahead and make a pin mark. That's about 1/8 of an inch, a little over 1/8 of an inch. That way we can probably pull it with our fingers, but if we need, it's easy to grab with a pair of pliers. So we're going to pull that out. Then I'm sitting by the rocket. I'm going to take my stick here and I want to kind of make a mark where I want that glue to land. So I want the glue to go in front of the engine here. So I'm going to make a mark on this stick here that I'm going to use for the glue. That lines up at the bottom of the tube. So if I put the glue up here, then I should spread it around up where the engine block's going to land and not as much where the engine will go. So this will be a little tricky. Once again, we really don't want to get any glue in our tube. Now we are going to be putting an engine in there, so if we do get some, hopefully it'll pick it up and smooth it out. So we're going to go in like this and just let that stick hit along the tube. And I'm going to put some more. Oops, stick broke. I'm using a piece of balsa, probably not the best idea. Right. All right. I can see a glue line is in there. All right, so let's take our engine block. We're going to slide it in the front. Go ahead and start pushing it down a little ways. Let's see, probably about right here is good. Let's see. Start pushing it down. Okay, now we're going to put our engine in. We're going to just hold the engine with our fingers here. I'm going to slide this down until it stops. I can feel it. I'm pushing against the engine now. Okay. That is in there. And let's go ahead and take our engine out. Got a little bit of epoxy on the engine there, so we know we hit our spot. Trying to look down here if I can see. Probably you can see our engine block in there. All right, so while that is setting, we can now go ahead and get our parachute swivel tied on. Now the swivel does not come with the kit. I'm just using one, and if you follow, by the way, I guess I should mention the instruction. There are no instructions with this, but they do have a video on the same webpage where you can order this rocket, and it shows Buddy Michelson actually building it, and he just made a knot here. I'm going to use a swivel because I like using swivels. Now the trick's going to be getting this swivel through this hole here. And if I can twist this down any, you have to drop a little super glue on the end just to feed it through, but let's see. Just need to get a little bit through and grab it. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. There we go. All right. Okay, great. So now we have it on here. So I'm going to come down. Could go about 9 inches, and then we'll lose a little bit in tying, so it'll be about 8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and just tie this into a knot, just a regular, it's overhand knot, I think it was called. Give a little bit, put it a little bit further down. You want a little bit more distance between the parachute and the nose cone, because we're also going to tie the nose cone on, so we'll lose a little bit there as well. All right, there we go. Okay. All right. So that's on there, and now we need to get this through the ring and the nose cone, which is going to be fun. This one may be a little bit more of a challenge. And look at that. All right. Wasn't too bad. I don't think I have to do any editing on that. All right, and now we're going to tie this on here. And for this, I'm going to do just some overhand knots. And I got enough tail. We're going to do one more. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw together just a little quick epoxy because I'm out. But I do want to get just some on this knot. On there, and then while I have some fresh epoxy, I'm going to put a little bit more on this little knot here. So our epoxy is cured, so all that's left is to apply this decal. This is a transfer type decal. I call them rub-on decals because you just peel off the back, put it on there, and then just rub it on until it sticks, and then peel the top off. So let's go ahead and get our Kevlar into the tube here. Get this out of the way. All right, we got that in there. That's a nice looking rocket. So we want to have our launch log on the bottom, and we're going to try and line the decal up with this fin right here. So pulling out my trusty little Estes stand, which is not a bad investment if you're doing model rockets. Now, this is a decision to make. If you watch the movie, Miss Riley goes this way. The miss is up at the top of the rocket, and it goes this way. If you look at all the pictures from Rocketman and most of your other rockets, your text usually goes, or that I've seen, the text usually goes this way, where you read up the rocket. So tough decision to make here. I think I'm going to hold true to the movie. We're going to go this direction, or we're going to put it this way. Now, I don't have the best eye when it comes to making things equal. I thought about maybe trying to put some tape on here or something to keep a line, but I think we'll just try to eyeball it. So we need to peel this off very carefully because we want our letters to come up. Don't forget the dot on the I, which is trying to stick. So if it goes to stick, you need to just give it a good rub on here. And that should stay. There it goes. See, that comes right up. There, we got the I. So the rest should come up pretty easy. All right, now we have our letters. So I want to line this with that fin as much as possible. Okay, not perfectly centered on the rocket, but I think I'm good with it. Now we just rub it down here. I'll take it off the stand at this point. All right, now the magic. Peel this off. Watch for dots on the eyes to stick. There we go. Nice. All right. Kind of pushing it with my fingers now. Just kind of push it down onto the tube. So that came out pretty straight. I'm kind of impressed. So, all right. So this concludes the Miss Riley build. Not sure when I'll get the flyer. Hopefully first weekend in April is when the Dallas Area Rocket Society launches. So it'd be nice to be able to fly it then. And if I do, I'll hopefully get some videos and pictures of it. But yeah, this is a really nice looking rocket. So good job, Rocketman. I appreciate you making the kit. And I thank you everyone for watching, and clear skies.